All right, Sid, thank you very much for taking your time here at the Future Battery Forum 2025. I'm really keen on talking with you about the operating system for battery manufacturing and design. Really inspiring. But before we come to that, let's talk about you and how you entered the field of batteries, because I think that is also very interesting.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks, Simon. Thanks for having me. Very excited to be here. We've had really great 2 days. In our team, we're thinking of every day is day one. And so you never forget the excitement of day one, and you keep executing even on day 365 with the same excitement. So my my background, I'm not from the battery industry. I wasn't formally trained in the battery industry. I have a PhD in imaging science. I grew up in India and then educated in the US, stayed there for 15 years, worked at different companies, different industries, neuroscience, wearables, health tech, monitoring, wearable monitoring, algorithms, AI, autonomous driving, different companies like Apple, Microsoft, a couple of startups. And then Love, I'm a Love refugee of Sweden. So Love brought me to Sweden. My wife is from there. So I moved during COVID, and just serendipitously, I met Peter Carlson at a VC party in 2021 at Slush in Helsinki.
Okay.
And it's funny, we just launched at Slush together 4 years later, a company in the same city and the same event we met 4 years ago. And the person who introduced us, Boris Nordenstrom, he's now an investor in the company.
Okay.
So it's a really funny coincidence. It's a small world. But Peter convinced me to join Northvolt, which I think was the true first champion to produce batteries at gigascale in Europe. So that was an incredibly amazing journey. Peter brought me in to help use AI or build AI to parameterize cell design. So how do you use the design cube and accelerate cell design? So a small team of 10, 20, 30 material scientists and cell designers experienced in automotive cell design. How can you make them go even faster? How can you reduce the number of DOEs and so on? And that led one thing to another. I worked in the factory. I was responsible for the MES and the SCADA systems that Northvolt built internally. It
Okay.
was called North Cloud, all built on the cloud on AWS, and it was a really incredible product. But what I realized was these handoffs were completely broken. The design teams and the industrialization teams and then the manufacturing teams, things did not get passed over. So when you
Okay.
got to the giga line, you realized there was a whole
Information was lost.
a whole bunch of information was lost.
Yeah.
And that led us to starting Aris Machina. So I guess I've given you a long answer here, but hopefully
Yeah.
it kind of helps you
I
connect.
think it's to be fair, in our previous conversation, I mean, it's a short answer to a very long story, I think,
Yes,
in
yes.
that regard.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you for providing the insights. So yeah, the story, as you just mentioned, originates from Northvolt. And maybe you can now kind of segue over and explain the challenges that you saw there, and then the idea that you had with your operating system, which brings me then to the question of the key innovation.
Hmm.
So what was the moment when you had the idea and then pitched that thought also to Peter, as you mentioned, and tried to convince, like, hey, we have to do something about it, learn from what we have
Yeah.
experienced.
Yeah. So I think the painful journey
Mm-hmm.
of building any startup was long, and if you do it in manufacturing, it's even more painful.
Mm-hmm.
So for us, the idea was slowly building up without either of us knowing that it was building up. And
Okay.
I think there was a trigger that happened, and that was obviously, this is too good to just let go. The what we have learned, so we need to build upon what we have learned.
Mm-hmm.
So for us, the challenges internally when it comes to digitalization or using data were threefold, and that's what is also in our pitch. Is number one was these fragmented worlds of legacy software systems.
Mm-hmm. Like
You have
MES, like ERP
I mean,
systems,
not just
or
MES. I mean, these are all essential systems,
mm-hmm.
but they don't play well with each other.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite quote is the most. I'll ask you this funny question. Do you know what's the most used software product in manufacturing?
Excel.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Do you know what the most used software product is in design? in product
PowerPoint.
design. It's still Excel.
Really?
More people spend more time on Excel than PowerPoint.
Oh wow.
PowerPoint is a means to an end to present to the management.
Yeah, yeah.
But cell designers have like these basic
You mean
routines.
in terms of
Product
engineering
design.
design?
Yeah,
Okay, I
engineering
was like
design.
thinking
Sorry.
of like
No, no,
visual.
no.
Okay,
No, no,
okay.
no. Sorry. Yeah, engineering design
Okay, yeah.
or
No,
cell
then of
design,
course Excel.
right?
Yeah,
It's Excel.
yeah.
So, I mean, we are in 2025 and we are still relying on Excel to produce physical things. So it was just this epiphany, like, what are we doing? What are we doing wrong here? That we cannot, get smart people to move away
Yeah.
from a tabular software. So that, I think, was just this disbelief
Mm-hmm.
where we were. And what we had built in Northvolt was cool. And then there were a few trigger points. One was where Peter locked me and a few others in a room, jokingly speaking. He was like, Sid, we really need to do something with all this data we collect.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, okay, we got this room. It was two barracks,
Mm.
construction barracks at the factory in the north, middle of winter, snowstorms. It was really surreal. And we literally got a plotter, like a large printer, and we started printing every data parameter that we were collecting. And we had a whole wall, or actually 4 walls, filled with paper
Mm-hmm.
with data parameter names. And it was like a factory process. So you started with mixing and you ended with end of line.
Mm-hmm.
And it was about 80,000 parameters that we found that we are collecting. So imagine 80,000 parameters per serial number,
Mm-hmm.
or actually 12,000 per serial number, but 80,000 in total.
Mm-hmm.
So you have rolls, you have pancakes, you have sheets, you have stacks, then you have, so on. So I think these two events, and we built a pretty cool AI product internally. These two events led us to really see the fragmented world, the lack of understanding data. Data is blind. It tells you what, it doesn't tell you why.
True.
And then the third thing was this knowledge silo that just gets created. The design people, the materials
Yeah, you have
people, the
those.
industrial people, the construction people, the process people, the operations, the quality, customer quality. It's just this, like, they all have these different
Yeah,
knowledge silos.
the information and data flow follows the organizational structure often, right? And
Yeah.
that's this if the organization is built in silos and not as a network, this
Yes.
becomes a major problem,
Yes.
especially in things like when you need to connect those in terms of
Exactly.
manufacturing, which is a prime example for that. Yeah.
Exactly. So our main mission is to unify
Mm.
industrial knowledge. And as we build this operating system, and I think that's the purpose of the operating system, an agentic or AI based operating system, is to sort of almost make industrial superintelligence possible,
Mm.
that people don't even feel it's super intelligent or AI. They just get used to it.
Mm-hmm.
And it should be in the background. It is what people deserve. It is what battery engineers deserve.
Mm-hmm.
It is what our operators deserve. It is what
Mm.
process engineers deserve, because they've taken the challenge to get into this arena and solve and work on a very hard problem. And this is not just true for batteries. I think, we are at a battery conference, but we think we want to target all industries,
Mm-hmm.
all complex industries,
Mm.
not just batteries.
I think we have to hold here for a second to realize what you just said. What you're talking about is to building not just a software, but an operating system. So the
Yes.
layer underneath the
Yes.
software, the foundation. So
Yes.
this is a quite huge endeavor, I
Yes.
think. And if I may reframe this in my words and there with understanding, by building this operating system, let's take the App Store, right? I mean, you worked at Apple before,
Yes.
so you know it by heart. You have this operating system and which provides an ecosystem, so kind of rules and I won't say regulations, but kind of prerequisites what is possible, and in a positive but also negative way, in the sense that it guides you along, but it also puts up restrictions in terms of where you shouldn't develop
Yeah.
this too.
Yeah.
And I think this is a very critical work which has to be very thoroughly thought through, because
Yes.
you're projecting very much in the future.
Yes.
Because as I understood you, there are also others then invited to work on this platform
Yes.
to deliver their apps,
Yes.
building up on your engines, on
Yes.
the agents that you also saw, or working with the agents that
Yes.
you provide initially, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. So, I mean, just going back to your original point, is this is a huge endeavor. I got 300 no's from my investors. 300 VCs said no to me.
Wow.
So, I was relentless at a point. Peter and I were like, yeah, we just put in our own money
Mhm.
as much as possible. I was going to maybe even sell my house and just go do this. And I had a conversation with my wife, like, yeah, I want to do this. And she was like, yeah, sure, it's fine. I'm a nurse. I have a job.
Yeah.
We'll be okay.
Okay.
So, kudos to her as well. It's a short note and ode to her. And I think same for Peter and Peter's family after going through this whole Northvolt journey. He was ready to dive in again. So
Mm.
I think it's a huge endeavor, but we are on to something big.
Mm.
We didn't let our previous experience get stale.
Mhm.
We were very ready
Yeah, I got you.
to just take that forward. Uh, it is very critical that we build this piece by piece. It is also critical that we don't feel afraid to reinvent and relaunch.
Mhm.
Uh, we will build the pieces, we will hear our customers, we will hear our users. But this is, it's a defining moment in the
Mm.
history where we are standing at, this big barrage of technology, and the other side of this decade is going to be really existentially defining
Mhm.
for a lot of geographies in the world. So I see the optimism and the world of abundance ahead of us, but I don't see the software platform that exists yet to take us from the industrial
Mhm.
landscape.
Mhm.
So I've written a 12-page memo that I was sending around. I converted it to a podcast using Notebook LM for
Mhm.
some investors. They liked it. I have a perplexity thread, which I was putting in the investment memo. So I added a few innovations on how you raise money.
Yeah.
And so I can send you that 12-page memo, which kind of lays out the thesis of the 4 phases that occur all the way to autonomous factories.
Mhm.
So we start with what this operating system, which is an agentic app store. Then we get to a phase where, agents are not just detecting and telling you what to do, but they're also allowed to control a few things.
Mhm.
And the operators are more focusing on the key pieces to really squeeze the last ounce of performance. Then you gamify it, right? So you keep the humans involved. What is the gamification version of this operating system so you can keep on
Yeah.
getting better and better at production,
Mhm.
better and better at
Yeah,
manufacturing?
you're talking about a parameter level simulation,
Absolutely.
or a simulation on parameter level,
Yeah.
which is also, we talked earlier, right?
Yeah.
What my academic but also now professional work revolves around, to bring the discussions in companies and battery manufacturing to that level.
Yeah.
Like 3D visual twins are nice and important, yes, no question about them. For fractal layout, you need it in a dynamic way. I
Yeah.
need to emphasize that. And but therewith you don't solve battery production per se.
Yeah.
You lay out the foundation, yes, but to really get it flowing,
Yeah.
you need this interconnectivity,
Yeah.
and need to understand which parameter is behaving how,
Yeah.
and together with which other parameters.
Yes. Yes.
So
So we've taken on
yeah.
this exact problem as day one. Our agents are being tested in a real factory hard drive.
Mm-hmm.
So we've purchased a massive factory data set, about 3 years of
Mm.
gigafactory, different parameters, different telemetry, uh, many tags, many machines, many different versions of the same machine. So we are really operating in a realistic landscape when it comes to training our product and building our product.
Yeah.
So when we go to a customer, we can see them, really leaning forward when they see a tag of a valve that feels real, and then we show them the 300 tags, 80 modules in a stacker, and they go like, "Oh, okay, let me click here, let me click there." So we can see the engagement, and we almost see that as one of the key things for us to
Mm.
get the first version. I also want to say we have a desire to make this available to the world.
Mm-hmm.
When we launch an app store where the whole world can build more apps, they will need data to test.
Mm-hmm.
And their customers would not want to give their data to test an app.
Yeah.
So, I want
That.
that to be the starting point for an application economy that they can test on a real factory. If they want to build a stacker detection or defect detection app,
Mm-hmm.
we have stacker data that, we'll use AI to even produce more stacker data
Yeah.
when the time comes.
Yeah, I want to say here, like, this is a really nice legacy also for the Northvolt story, like that this enabled kind of this build up now,
Yeah,
in a sense.
yeah,
Critical voices would now say like, wait a second, you're building a new completely novel knowledge base based on a factory that didn't work. Like
Oh, I
cynical
love
voices.
that answer because I'm going to hit this one out of the
Yeah,
park, I
do
think.
it.
So, if you understand machine learning, right?
Mm,
Machine learning is about learning on diverse data sets,
mm-hmm.
right? Northvolt factory struggled. We had a lot of, you know, product loss at all stages due to defects, due to challenges in the machine. How do you teach a good machine learning model? Do you show it enough okay data?
Well, no, you certainly showed also the things that didn't work.
Yeah. So what
But
data?
the thing is, you need to know why they didn't work
Yes,
in order
and
to train.
and
And that's
and
the critical aspect here.
exactly. So having owned, also we have the advantage of having built that data set.
Mm,
So we know exactly where to look, and we had a very comprehensive data collection procedure.
mm,
So we believe that that data set will be very valuable from a perspective of getting us to a baseline
mm-hmm,
of what does a baseline of agentic intelligence look like
mm-hmm,
that knows how to go navigate. But the framework we are building is completely independent of the data set. So this is more about
mm.
getting machine
Catchy.
learning to industry in as real way as possible
Yeah,
using a real data set.
yeah.
So you talk about the legacy. I think you make a good point. I love Northvolt and I love the legacy
Mm,
we built there. Whatever the media says, and there are obviously so many naysayers. We failed,
yeah,
and I'm glad for Lighten. They own all those assets now. I hope they do something with that. I also hope we get to work with them
yeah,
in the future when
yeah,
they restart the factory.
yeah. Yeah, and that's also the reason why I built the battery expedition, right?
I'm so
Because
like excited about you. You've been doing something super cool here. I didn't know about this.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
thanks, man. Thanks. I really appreciate that because there were a lot of critical voices when I started this.
I
Like,
can
Simon,
imagine.
are you crazy, man? Just go to some OEM and do a managerial
Yeah,
post,
yeah,
like position there, whatever. But no, I saw like the need. I
yeah,
mentioned earlier, right? I
yeah,
saw the need that we are missing yet this one team aspect of Europe, this interconnectivity, like kind of resembling the software idea
yeah,
that you are pushing forward right now, right?
yeah,
And so that with I also value the openness in this conversation right now,
yeah,
that you explain the background story, because circling back to the media point, this is exactly what we need to go, I want to say, against, because we are on another level than this media that is put out, that is kind of clickbait and trying to just bring up big headlines, but this is irritating and distracting from the competences that are there in Europe.
yeah,
And as I said, like, I traveled 8 months now through Europe,
yeah,
and I see a lot of competence, but I also see the homework that needs to be done.
yeah,
And we both have similar um, have a similar region of work, right? We are both on this understanding of parameter-based production synchronization,
yeah,
optimization, and
yeah,
iteration,
yeah,
simulation, that needs to happen.
yeah,
And in a way, and that's what you mentioned with the framework, that it's tailored to the actual people that work
yeah,
with this.
yeah. I'll give you an example, right?
Yeah.
GPUs.
Mm-hmm.
So math has been around for a while. Optimization has been around for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Gradient optimization came in the 60s, right? Backprop, Jeff Hinton, the godfather of AI, brought it. Jan LeCun implemented it. He invented the CNN. But then the real revolution came when the first big shovel showed up, is how can I parallelize the processing,
Mm-hmm.
the GPU, which
Mm-hmm.
was built for the gaming industry,
Mm-hmm.
right? It was built for the gaming
It's
industry.
also interesting, right? That play
Yeah,
play
yeah,
enabled like this industrial
yes.
revolution that we're now going through.
Exactly. And it was built on a lot of failed companies and failed entrepreneurs
Mm,
who didn't give up trying, right? So I think, and this may be a stretch, I think Northvolt has created enough motivation, talent pool, training the hard way, assets, data sets. Northvolt suppliers have become mature and they've learned the hard way. And I think we need to figure out how we leverage all this.
mm-hmm,
So we are on our mission to leverage one piece of it and give it to not just the battery industry, but also take it to other industries. Because if we
mm,
keep talking about abundance and resilience and reindustrialization, if we don't do anything about it, then we'll get old and we'll die, and then we'll just be in archives of some newspapers.
Mm-hmm.
Or we can actually build something that we leave a mark on. That's actually what's in the logo of the company. Is the logo of the company is an ASCII binary code
Mm-hmm.
for the name of the company. So we believe that, if machines are the ones that are doing a lot of reading and decision making, the machines can read our logo
Mm.
because it's just binary code. And binary is the last language that humans will ever invent.
Yeah.
Binary code is the last language that we'll ever invent. So we embedded our logo to
Uh-huh.
pass it on to the machines. If we get to autonomous factories, every machine in the world should have the RS logo. That's the ambition.
Yeah, I see the philosophical point in this.
Yes.
So then let me ask the question: how will this mechanistic story unfold from
I
now?
don't know. This is what I like to surprise
Okay,
the
okay.
answer with. Like yesterday's, a very influential hedge fund investor asked me, "So Sid, what does next 5 years look like?" And I said, "I don't know. I don't know. The one thing I'm hoping for is there's less disease.
Mm.
We'll be able to reduce disease." So then someone made a point about longevity. And I said, longevity, we're trying to elongate our life. I think we will be more successful if we try to reduce the number of things that kill us, right? Than
Yeah,
change the human
fair, fair,
body, because
fair
this is a
point.
very complex system.
Yeah, yeah.
So might as well make things safer, reduce disease.
Mm.
And I think I have a lot of ambition there.
And in that regard, I mean, that's so
Yeah,
inspiring talking, right? Because you have the smartphone background, I say, like
yeah,
this consumer interface
yeah,
interaction, like you know
yes,
a lot about that, but also the analogy holds here,
yeah,
like you talked about the body as an organism.
yeah.
A factory is also an organism,
Yeah, and
and
a battery is an organism,
yeah,
man.
exactly. So and now we're coming again to the offerings that you're pushing forward,
Yeah.
right? Production optimization, but also product optimization,
Yes.
and bringing them in an
In a
iterative
loop.
circle. Yeah.
That's the two products. Protos is about product optimization.
Mm-hmm.
Gemba, a tip of the hat to the Toyota production system, the lean, the Kaizen. Gemba means the real thing in that context, the real place.
Yeah.
So we've kind of married those two, and we built the two applications right now.
Yeah.
Gemba is more industry agnostic; any factory can take it. Protos is more around battery industry. I want every PhD student in this space to have a tool
Mm-hmm.
which they love,
Okay.
which they can build for. They can launch apps, they can put their models out there. Even if they don't know how to implement the other 30 models, someone else will put their model. And our product will help bring that together.
Mm-hmm.
This is what Protos will be. It's what MATLAB did for the controls world.
Mm-hmm.
We think this complex electrochemical physics chemistry world deserves something better.
Yeah.
So we have PyBAM in there. We've got COMSOL integrations. We'll integrate it to the ERP. We'll integrate it to the cycler data. But eventually, it should feel like I open a browser and the first link I go to is Protos to see what my team did, or
Mm-hmm.
to see what did I do yesterday. I can ask an AI agent. So what should I do today? How should I proceed? What did you do last night when you were running for 8 hours?
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, this is the world I see with how we get to abundance.
Yeah. So I see the point. My head is running wild right now
Yeah,
because, as I said, I have also those many of those thoughts already in my head where I see the needs, also from the insights that I get from the expedition. Um, and there must become a follow up, I think. But before we do that, let me ask the three key questions that I ask
yeah,
every leader of our field that is guest on this podcast. And we're in Europe. We're striving for Europe, but something is still holding us back. The Northvolt story is a symbol for that. What is holding us back from your perspective
yeah,
if you talk about the challenges?
yeah. Uh, I mean, I'm not an expert commentator. There are a lot of
Mm-hmm.
politicians who are experts on and what is holding us back. But I'm a
But
huge
from your perspective.
yeah. I'm an optimist, right? So if you ask me what's holding us back, is I think Europe needs to uh, learn a bit, or not learn, but really be true to their history, which is this industrial innovation or industrial knack of
Mm-hmm.
doing things. If you look at US, they're really leading in AI and high tech world, right? If you look at China, they're leading at scale in manufacturing and speed. I think Europe can take lessons from both and lead at applied. industry,
Mm-hmm.
which is kind of what Europe's root is applied industry, the automotive industry,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
We have so many suppliers, and if there is, the automotive industry, if it's struggling, which,
Yeah.
people will argue is or is not, there is still a whole ecosystem of experts around this.
Mm-hmm.
So we just need to find a way to stay resilient. And so policies are there which could change.
Mm-hmm.
Capital is a big one. Uh, we need to bet more money
Mm-hmm.
behind this
So that
because
is a real challenge,
capital is
right?
a huge one. I
Yeah.
think capital needs to change.
Which.
Also, the one Europe idea. We are, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
17 states, but we need to be one.
Yeah,
Uh,
which also, let me comment this very briefly, this investor point. I mean, we need to build up trust. The media kind of distorted the trust in our industrial
yeah,
um, competence, but also competitiveness
yeah,
in the global landscape.
yeah,
And the expedition as such also is aimed to
yeah,
rebuild the trust
yeah,
to all stakeholders in terms
yeah,
of investors and
yeah.
financiers out there.
Let me say it this way: batteries are essential.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if you want AI, we need to fix the battery industry.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's not happening. Token costs are going to rise, and we will be in a pretty poor state. It'll be like water. We,
Mm-hmm.
we thought water would be abundant, but cost of water is different everywhere. The quality of water is different everywhere. I think it'll be like similar
Interesting.
situation for AI. And
Mm-hmm.
it was because, maybe we didn't invest enough in water treatment or desalination, and we've been kind of, holding back. It's the same situation, right? Water crisis is real. Maybe there's a token crisis in the future somewhere, even if you have data centers, but you can't power them up because, the grids are not there. So I don't know. This is
Mm-hmm.
like, these are
Mm-hmm.
questions I
Yeah.
ask myself.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's
but
a
but
little bit of thought, but I
but
can follow it.
you
Yeah.
don't stop driving if your car skids in a snowstorm,
Mm-hmm.
right? You don't stop driving. So we should not stop building battery factories
Mm-hmm.
because, the industry is struggling, or Northvolt raised money and wasn't able to execute. Like, learn from the lessons and move on. So kudos to every other gigafactory that's still going
It's
and
pushing
still
for it.
fighting,
Yeah.
and we are here to help them.
That's what I would just wanted to segue over, right? And I think that also kind of pinpoints, I think, the potential that you kind of subtly also explained, which is the second final question, right? That Europe brings, that it's an ecosystem and we can help each other out here.
Yes.
We just have to relearn it a little bit, I guess,
Yes.
right?
I think there's also, I feel like there is a lot of discussion about this in like minded forums,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't see enough hybrid forums where policymakers and contradicting opinions
Mm-hmm.
and capital allocators
Yeah.
and large money is all coming together and having discussions out in the
Yeah.
open. They're out in closed doors.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to challenge a whole bunch of these people on a podcast and let's debate.
Well, you haven't seen my keynote yesterday,
No, I didn't.
but
I've missed that.
yeah, I
Sorry.
know. But this is phase one we're in right now.
Yeah,
Phase one is showcasing the technological competence that is out there.
yeah,
Phase two is opening up the dialogue, and this is happening right now in
yeah,
Brussels and Berlin,
yeah.
opening up the dialogue to politicians to explain what I've seen
Mm,
and what is actually possible,
mm,
right? And how far it is away.
yeah,
It's just basically a handshake away right now.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
then the third phase, which is then starting next year, so in beginning of 2026, is to have the same discussions with investors
Yeah,
and bridging the gaps.
yeah.
So this is
I'm
the
very excited for where you go with this, and just, last word for entrepreneurs out there, if they're listening. Um, I think, just tune out the noise, suspend all disbelief, almost to a point of where some people may even call you stupid,
mm-hmm,
and just be irrational. Just be completely irrational about your start.
mm,
Unless you're irrational, there's enough noise that will
pull
make
you
you think
down.
twice.
Will
Yeah,
pull you down.
just
Yes,
yeah,
that's what I also experienced. Like
yeah,
if I would have listened too much, then I would have stopped.
yeah. Just
Yeah.
just be academically irrational.
Mm,
What they say. You may be rational in your own head, but other people may say you're stupid or
mm.
crazy. I think that's what a lot of investors love that. I can tell you that. They love a big chip on the shoulder. They love the vision. They love the clarity. So
Mhm.
just think clearly what you want to do, and then talk to people, and then enough people will join you, and maybe you can execute it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's beautifully said. And yeah, with this execution mindset,
Yeah.
this this I want to call it maker mindset.
Maker mindset. I like that.
Yeah,
Very good.
I think we will continue with that. And
Yeah.
David, Sid, thank you very much for this
Thank you.
conversation.
Thank you,
It's really
Simon.
inspiring.
It was. It's inspiring to see what you do, and keep doing it, and let us know how we can help.
Good so.
Yeah. Cheers. Thanks.